Welcome to Recaply X, your movie recap in a flash. We bring the drama, the action, and the twists. In minutes, the movie starts with Reed Richards and his friend Ben. Reed is incredibly smart, considered the smartest person in the world. They walk until they reach Victor Doom's company. Victor was their friend from school days, but he and Reed were not close. They enter the company, and Reed explains to Doom that he has conducted extensive research and discovered a cloud in space containing immense energy that could make the planet full of incredible technology. He came here to fund the project, meaning to take samples from this cloud in space. He says they can also use it to heal humanity. At that moment, Susan, who Reed loved during university days, enters. She is incredibly beautiful, and Reed is mesmerized when he sees her. She currently works with Doom. She greets Ben and Reed. Reed feels stunned when he sees her. Then she enters and greets Ben and Reed, and tells him that this project will benefit us greatly. After much discussion, he is convinced to actually fund the project. Afterward, she leaves to drop off Reed and Ben. Reed informs her that Ben will be the leader and the one in charge of the spaceship. However, he says, "No, Johnny, my brother, will be the leader and will lead Ben." This greatly angers Ben because Johnny is reckless and irresponsible, and now he will be in charge of him. Reed tries to calm him down, saying, "We just want to execute the project, and that's it." Then everyone leaves to assist him. Afterward, he prepares himself and heads to the headquarters. At that moment, Johnny arrives, being impulsive and reckless, constantly provoking Ben with his remarks. Ben tries to restrain himself from hitting him. Then Susan intervenes and gives them the suits they will use for their journey. These suits contain technology that can absorb heat, protect the body, and adapt to any situation. When he sees them, he's very surprised because this was his idea at the time, but she executed and developed it. They then prepare themselves with all the equipment they will need and head to the spaceship to travel to space. We then see on the screen that the cloud they want to reach will collide with them in 9 hours. Before this time, they must take the sample and return immediately to Earth. They arrive at the location of the cloud. Ben suits up in a protective outfit to go out and collect the sample himself, with Johnny offering to help. Meanwhile, we see Adam escaping from Susan because he loves her and wants to marry her, but she doesn't agree because she still loves Reed and can't forget him. He continues to desire her, but during this, Reed is conducting his research and discovers that the collision is approaching and they have only 9 minutes, not 9 hours. If this happens, Ben will be hit and die immediately, and they might not survive either. Amid all this chaos, Doom holds a ring and proposes to Susan. Then Reed enters and informs them that the collision is in 9 minutes and they must bring Ben back immediately and cancel the operation. He tells him that the operation must proceed, but he rushes to get Ben back, but the cloud explodes and harm everyone. After 3 days, Johnny wakes Ben telling him that the cloud affected him and they couldn't retrieve his original appearance, and now you're disfigured. And when Ben holds the mirror, he realizes that Johnny is joking. At the company, where Victor Doom arrives and blamed on everything that happened, and they threaten him, saying he may be fired from the company if he doesn't account for everything within a week. Ben gets angry and doesn't know what to do. Meanwhile, Johnny is under observation for radiation exposure and is asked to wear a suit. He refuses and leaves immediately to meet his girlfriend and go snowboarding. The nurse tries to stop him, telling him his temperature is high and he needs to undergo tests, but he refuses and leaves the facility. After he leaves, she notices his temperature has risen dramatically. As for Ben, he goes to Reed and tells him, "You've been unconscious for 3 days." He replies, "I calculated all the possibilities, but I don't understand how this happened." Reed replies, "Forget about all this. I know you still love Susan." Ben responds, "It is not impossible. She is with Dom. I saw him proposing to her with a ring. It seems she's not meant for me." We then move to Johnny, who meets his girlfriend, and they board a helicopter to jump onto the ice. They encourage each other, and the girl jumps first, followed by Johnny in a very professional manner. During this, the girl notices flames on Johnny and warns him. He doesn't initially feel it, but when he sees it, he panics as he catches fire entirely and falls onto the ice. The girl rushes to him, very worried, but he regains consciousness and nothing happens to him. Meanwhile, at the headquarters, Ben tries to bring Reed and Susan closer together. He invites them to lunch, and they actually go. At the same time, we see Doom noticing cracks forming on his body and not understanding what's happening to him. He realizes he can control metal, move it, and has gained superpowers from the cloud. Meanwhile, Reed and Susan talk in private about their past lives. Susan tells him that he left her for his research. Suddenly, the girl disappears, falls into a glass, and Reed extends his hand to catch her and stretch it. Both are confused about what's happening. At this moment, Johnny enters and tells them he has transformed but doesn't feel anything. Meanwhile, Ben is in the bathroom, experiencing pain, not understanding what's happening. It becomes clear he's transforming. Johnny experiments with fire and is very pleased. He tells them they need to figure out what's happening. Ben, in his room, is in pain and can't move. They try to open the door, but he tells them to leave him alone. Reed stretches his hand under the door, grabs the handle, and opens it. Johnny tells him he can't leave the room. Ben breaks the room and escapes. He stands under the door, talks on the phone, and recalls a conversation where someone promised to love him no matter what. He realizes he has been disfigured. When the woman sees his appearance, she is terrified and runs away. Ben becomes very upset and sits on a bridge alone, feeling sad. At that moment, a man appears, about to commit suicide. Ben approaches him and says, "Nothing is worth it." He tries to calm him down, but the man gets scared and falls. Ben saves him, but a car crashes into Ben, destroying the car completely. Ben also rescues a young girl from the explosion. Susan creates an energy field to protect people from harm. The team saves the situation, and people cheer for them. Ben's wife then gives him her ring and leaves. He feels deeply hurt because she abandoned him. Reed consoles him and promises to do everything he can to restore his appearance. At this moment, the police arrive and tell them the press wants to speak with them because they filmed everything that happened, and they ask, "Who is your leader in?" They say that he is Reed, and they inform them what happened in space. So the people named them Fantastic Four, and Victor is watching everything that is happening on TV. Then he talks the manager and tells him that he won't be with them anymore. As for Reed, he takes the team and goes to his house so he can continue to research them and see how to remove the radiation from them. During this, we see Susan walking around the house, and she opens an old photo album and sees pictures of her with Reed from college and remembers all the memories they had together. But then Victor Dom enters and says to her, "You are supposed to be in my house, not his." Then Reed enters, and Dom gets angry at him and immediately leaves the place. But Red follows him and keeps apologizing to him that the mission failed and that he will try to fix the situation. Dom gets very angry at him and tells him, "You have to fix what you did by any means. I paid millions of dollars for this mission." He gets tired of him and was about to beat him until Ben appears, and as soon as he sees him, he leaves. He hits the wall, frustrated, but he found that iron is broken, surprised by his strength. As for Reed, Ben sees him and is doing tests and trying to find a way to extract the radiation from them and return them to normal again. And after that, he starts doing tests and tries to do this to Ben. As for Victor, he also noticed that he can control the metal like this remotely, so he goes to his doctor to examine him, and the one who actually examines him and tells him that the metal in your body will continue to grow until your whole body turns into metal and your face will go away, and this will happen within 3 weeks at most. The doctor tells the company they need to know what's happening because it might be a virus or radiation that could harm everyone. He insists the matter must remain confidential, but the doctor refuses and says he must inform the administration. Doom becomes furious, kills the doctor, and leaves. Reed manages to create suits for each team member, resistant to friction and heat, to adapt to their powers. They succeed and wear them we see the head of the board confronting Victor Doom, who enters and reminds him of what he has done. He kills him. Doom becomes completely insane. Johnny sees a motorcycle race and decides to join. He leaves and drives his car. While waiting at a traffic light, someone challenges him. Johnny uses his powers to disable the other's bike and leaves immediately. He reaches the race, takes a motorcycle, races, jumps into the air, performs crazy stunts, and showcases his skills. Suddenly, his body ignites, and he falls to the ground, but he was okay. He mocks Ben, and his appearance. Ben gets very angry, and he decides to beat Johnny up in front of the people, and then he leaves the place, and they go to him and ask him to come with them, but he refuses. Then, Ben breaks his car, so he gets very angry, and the two of them got angry with each other and kept hitting each other. Then, Susan stops them, but Ben immediately leaves the place, and Susan goes to talk to him and says, "I understand the change that happened to you, and that you want to return to normal." Ben says to her, "No, you didn't understand anything. All of you gained incredible powers, but I turned into a monster." He immediately leaves the place. Later, he goes to a bar to reflect, but he stumbles onto a chair and falls, moving awkwardly. A woman nearby notices him and offers him a drink on her tab. She approaches him and says, "You look sad." She touches him and tells him, "Appearance doesn't matter." Victor Doom arrives shortly after and tells him, "I can help you and turn you back to normal again." Ben responds, "Reed is working on this and he'll solve it." But Doom keeps trying to drive a wedge between them, saying, "He'll never help you. He's too busy with Susan now." Later, we see Reed working so hard that he falls asleep. Susan comes to wake him and suggests, "Why don't we take a break and go out like old times?" Reed agrees and immediately leaves the place with her. He takes her to the spot where they first met and starts talking to her about Victor. He tells her there's nothing between them and never will be. He confesses his love for her. Meanwhile, Ben is in the lab, furious, and tells Reed he abandoned his work and left to be with Susan, claiming he doesn't care about the team anymore. Doom attacks Reed, but Reed stretches his body to defend himself and tries to calm Doom down. Reed eventually escapes, telling the team they're on their own now. Johnny mocks Ben's appearance, prompting Ben to hit him, saying, "You're not funny." Susan intervenes and advises Johnny, "Stop mocking him." Johnny reflects on her words and leaves as well. Meanwhile, Reed finishes the device that's supposed to cure them, but it's not fully complete yet. He decides to test it on himself first. He enters the machine and it works, restoring him. However, his body starts to melt unexpectedly. Susan is shocked and tries to help him. Doom, observing them through cameras he installed in their home, kidnaps Ben and brings him to his lab. There, Doom claims the machine is ready, but Ben tells him Reed said it wasn't yet. Doom dismisses Reed's warnings, saying, "It's ready now." Doom plans to use the machine to absorb all the powers and energy, claiming it will make him unstoppable. He convinces Ben to enter the machine, but Doom betrays him, absorbing his powers instead. Doom declares he's now the only one who can stop anyone. He fights the team, overpowering them with his newfound strength. Reed arrives and confronts Doom, who threatens to kill the team and starts throwing energy blasts at them, even throwing them off a building. And because Reed's body is unstable right now, he starts to melt and falls down. Victor descends and takes him with him. He also finds a mask on the street, takes it, wears it, and calls himself Dr. Doom. As for Ben, he goes to the team and informs them of what happened. They decide to go to rescue Reed. Ben tells him to stay behind because, without his powers, he might get hurt. Doom, at this point, has brought Reed to a specific temperature, fixing him in place to kill him. He tells him he won't kill him yet, saying, "I'll let you watch your team die first." He then targets Johnny's body temperature and launches a missile to track and explode him. Indeed, he fires it, and Johnny keeps dodging the missile, running through the air and tunnels, trying to evade it in any way possible. The missile keeps chasing him until it reaches a center in the sea, flies above it, and explodes there. Doom assumes Johnny is dead. Meanwhile, Susan disappears to free Reed, but Doom discovers her presence, goes to her, and starts fighting her, until he overpowers her and was about to finish her off. But at that moment, Ben arrives, regains his powers from the device, and strikes Doom, sending him flying. The two fall off the building and continue fighting mid-air to avoid hitting the ground. Doom recovers, regains his strength, strikes Ben, and sends him flying. He grabs a metal rod, intending to stab it into his heart. Before he can finish him off, Susan intervenes, strikes him with energy, and stops him. At that moment, Johnny also arrives, and the Fantastic Four reunite. Doom begins absorbing all the energy in the area and attacks them. Honestly, he becomes incredibly powerful and overwhelmingly strong. However, Reed uses his intelligence, devising a plan. He wraps around Doom and instructs Johnny to heat him to a specific temperature. Susan strikes him with energy, and Ben pours water on him. They all work together, and this combination freezes Doom in place. They successfully immobilize and stop him, thus defeating him. People witness everything that happened and start applauding them. The next day, they throw a party to celebrate. Ben ends up with the blind woman, and they all enjoy themselves, dancing together. At that moment, Reed approaches Susan and tells her he wants to talk to her outside, and they go out and he starts telling her that his life without her was boring and that he loves her and wants to marry her and propose to her uncle. The girl is very happy and agrees, and everyone at the party is standing behind them and watching this. Johnny flies in the air, and drawing the Fantastic Four logo the next day, we see Victor Doom after he turned into a statue, and the police say they took him in a cell to a faraway place. And a year will pass after these events. Later that year, a planet in space explodes, and a creature named Silver Surfer emerges from it, heading toward Earth. He enters the planet, freezes a sea in Japan, and then moves to the pyramids in Egypt, freezing them as well. He continues traveling to various places on Earth, freezing them, leaving people confused about what is happening. Media outlets start reporting on the phenomenon, but no one understands its cause. When the Silver Surfer passes over New York, the power goes out. Meanwhile, Reed and Susan, who have announced their wedding to the global press, learn about the events from the news. Reed tells Susan he won't interfere and wants to focus on their wedding, which is scheduled soon. They board a plane back to New York and arrive at Reed's lab. Johnny keeps suggesting they capitalize on their fame for advertising money. Susan interrupts, reminding them about the wedding, and Reed reassures her it will go as planned. Johnny later adds sponsors' logos to their suits, which annoys the team. He throws a bachelor party for Reed, who initially resists but is convinced to join, as it's his last night of freedom. Meanwhile, the Silver Surfer reaches the area where Victor Doom is held. The energy from the surfer revives Doom, who absorbs part of the power and wakes up. At the bachelor party, Reed, Johnny, and Ben enjoy themselves, dancing and singing. At the same time, a US general arrives at the Fantastic Four's headquarters, seeking Reed's help to understand the mysterious creature. Susan directs him to Reed, and they head to the party, where they find Reed dancing with women. Susan is upset upon seeing this. The general explains the situation with the Silver Surfer, mentioning that satellites have detected him. He asks Reed to build a device to track the creature, but Reed declines, citing his wedding preparations. The general leaves, and Susan teases Reed about having her own bachelorette party. Johnny flirts with the general's assistant, who ignores him. Meanwhile, Doom begins tracking the Silver Surfer, aiming to absorb his energy. Reed eventually builds the tracking device secretly and informs the general. On the wedding day, everything seems perfect, but Susan is nervous, expressing concerns about bringing children into such an unsafe world. Reed reassures her, and the ceremony begins. However, the device detects the Silver Surfer approaching, causing a power outage and a helicopter crash. The Fantastic Four use their powers to save the situation. Johnny chases the Silver Surfer, but struggles to keep up with his speed. The surfer captures Johnny, takes him into space, and drops him back to Earth. Johnny narrowly survives by activating his powers at the last moment. The surfer reveals that he was sent by Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds, to prepare Earth for destruction. the Fantastic Four regroup with the General, who explains the Surfer's immense power. Reed admits he secretly worked on the tracking device, angering Susan, who desires a normal life away from battles and alien threats. Meanwhile, Johnny struggles to control his powers, feeling weak and defeated. But as soon as she touches him, their powers transfer to each other, and she burns like him and keeps screaming. So Red sees her and tries to help her, but he does not know how, and he goes to John and tells him to try to touch her again, and as soon as he does that, everyone's powers return to him again. After that, Reed continues to test them and finds out that through the creature's encounter with Johnny's DNA, there was a defect in it, and if anyone touched his powers, they would be transferred to him. So, Ben tries to touch him, and indeed, their powers are transferred to him, and Ben returns to normal again. This makes Johnny very angry and tells him to return it, but Ben is happy and keeps provoking him and tells him to try what you are doing to me. So he touches him again, and his powers return to him. At the same time, Dom goes to the Silver Surfer's place and tries to talk to him and tells him that they cooperate with each other, and that this way we will be stronger and no one will be able to defeat us. But he refuses and tells him that he is weak. Dom tries to hit him, but the creature hits him with energy, and they fly away. But Dom absorbed part of his energy and finds that his body returns to normal again, and he starts to heal, and he is very happy about this. Then Reed promises Susan that after stopping the Surfer, they'll leave everything behind and live a peaceful life. Susan is happy with this plan, but Johnny overhears and feels abandoned. The team prepares for their next encounter with the Silver Surfer and Victor Doom. After that, the team manages to locate the place and then takes the equipment as well, so they can go and stop it. Meanwhile, Ben and Johnny will leave them, but at this moment, we then see a rift opening in the sea, and the entire sea freezes. Due to this, the amusement wheel gets destroyed and starts falling. However, Susan tries to stop it with her strength. From the sea emerges Silver Surfer. As soon as she sees him, she creates an energy field around her, but the wave passes through and enters the energy. She asks him, "Why do you want to destroy our world?" He replies, "It's not me, it's Galactus. I am forced to do this because he will destroy my planet." At that moment, the military fires a missile at them, which he absorbs with his board effortlessly and protects Susan. Then the military starts firing more missiles at him, but he destroys them all easily. The device activates, and Reed manages to stop him and disconnect him from the board. They capture him and place him in a high-security prison. The General becomes hostile toward the Fantastic Four, not understanding why. Reed tells them he surely doesn't want us to know what he's planning. He adds, "This person is forced to do this, and we need to talk to him and find out who is behind this." Susan uses her powers to disappear, sneaks out, and tracks the staff in the area. She manages to find Silver Surfer's location and asks him, "Why do you want to destroy our world?" He replies, "It's not me. There's someone named Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds, and his goal is to consume Earth. If I don't do this, my planet will be destroyed, and all its inhabitants will die." She tells him, "Work with us, and we can stop him." At that moment, Victor says he wants to examine the board, but someone stops him, saying, "Under my supervision." Victor agrees and enters, but as soon as he sees the board, he attacks them with his powers. He uses a device he created to control the board. Once he mounts it, he feels immensely powerful. The General tries to kill him, but fails. Victor eliminates him instantly. Later, he speaks with the General's assistant and informs her that he killed him. She calls the Fantastic Four for help, and they arrive with the General's assistant. They take Silver Surfer with them on their ship and head to confront Victor. A battle ensues, but this time Victor is very strong. They separate him from the board and try to attack him. They all gather around him, but he creates a storm that throws them all away, landing in New York. Victor is then seen holding something and attempting to throw it at Silver Surfer to kill him. Susan intervenes, taking the hit in his place, and gets injured. She begins to die. Reed approaches her and sees her dying before his eyes, devastated and unable to do anything. Meanwhile, Galactus approaches Earth to consume it. Johnny declares he will absorb their powers to fight Victor. He places his hand on them and absorbs the powers of the other three, becoming the sole wielder of the Fantastic Four's combined strength. He then goes to battle Victor, now much stronger. He delivers powerful blows, overpowering Victor completely. Victor tries to counterattack, but Johnny manages to subdue him, spinning around him and continuing to strike him. He notices Victor's device, destroys it, and disrupts its function, separating Victor from the board. Victor attempts to mount it again, but Johnny attacks him, sending him flying into the water. At this moment, Galactus has nearly reached Earth. Susan has died, and Reed is heartbroken, unable to accept that his beloved has passed away in front of him. Silver Surfer then summons his board and touches Susan before leaving. He tells Reed, "Take care of her this time," and assures them, "Your planet will be safe." He decides to sacrifice himself to destroy Galactus. He flies into space, confronting Galactus. He declares, "I won't let you harm anyone else," using all his power to explode himself and Galactus, dying in the process. This saves Earth. Susan is then seen reviving, as Silver Surfer had given her a part of his power. Reed is overjoyed to see her alive. Later, they finally have their wedding in China. Johnny starts a relationship with the General's assistant, who initially resisted, but eventually fell for him. Susan tries to throw flowers to the crowd, but when Johnny's girlfriend catches them, he burns them immediately. She looks at him, realizing he won't change. And that was the end of our story. Tell us in the comments what movies or series you'd like us to summarize.